So this year at Manifest, art vendors, Josh's Community Collage, food trucks. We have live music that night.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of the TF Cast. I'm Willis.
Hey, Grum here. It is April 24th in the solarium.
And I'm your host, Jacob Bass. Stay with us. We are very pleased to bring back both, Josh Madson, Megan Hoogland, and Shelley Caldwell as representatives for the Manifest event, which is our second year working with Manifest. And I'm going to kick it right over to Megan to introduce what's going on at this year's Manifest event. Megan?
So this year at Manifest, we have, again, the art vendors. We have Josh's Community Collage shoot, food trucks, hopefully good weather. And then we have live music that night.
Yeah. So we're pretty pumped about our musical guests. We're going to have Alan Sparhawk from Low. I don't think he's been touring much since his wife passed, but it seems like he's getting back in the swing of things. So we're really excited about that. And then we have kind of their super group that they've made called Circuit City, which has Alan, Liz Draper, the local legend, Jeremy Ilsevaker. There's a couple here. I actually had to look it up because, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing this, but JT Bates, Gianthi Rahasa, and Andrew Gillespie. And then we're going to have Given Names play too, so that's pretty exciting.
Awesome. It's one of my favorite local acts to open up the show.
Given Names?
Yeah, it sure is.
I've never seen them. I'm really excited.
They're great.
You're in for a treat.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And Shelley, this is your first time with us on account of Manifest. Maybe you could just outline what your role has been this year.
Yeah, I took over kind of vendor coordinating and other activities this year. So we have 42 different artist vendor booths or local art organizations represented, as well as a lot of kids activities going on in the kind of side classroom from the makerspace, from the Blue Earth County Library. We will also have Sidetracked in there doing a community sculpture build, and we're going to have a planting station available as well with some spider plants.
Cool. Yeah, and I think it's fun that Megan earlier mentioned that it was going to be good weather, which would actually be a great time to mention that this is at the Cato Ballroom, which is the same location that it was at last year. But since we didn't know this last time we spoke on the podcast about Manifest, we did have to relocate the entire Manifest event on 30 hours notice last year because of a horrible windstorm that happened, and we landed in the ballroom and it went off without a hitch. So big props to the team last year who made that all happen and made a great event. But we just ended up staying with it because we liked it so much. It's this year we're just doing it again. Yeah.
Let's go. They liked it too, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the ballroom is great. I think it's a perfect location because we can expand there too. Because this time we're going to be in the back parking lot with the food trucks, and Dinah's going to have a community mural on the same block at the Chestnut House.
Oh, we're getting a phone call.
We're very popular today.
That must be Dinah right
Wow.
now.
Mm-hmm.
Guys,
Lovely.
you're saying it wrong.
The suspense.
That would have been awesome if it was a caller, though. Long time listener, first time caller.
It would have been our first caller.
Yeah.
Do we have the ability to do that? Could we do a call in?
We could do a call-in. We would have to set up for it, but it is possible on the TFcast.
Yep.
Do you just want to just spoon it back on what the last question?
Yeah,
or should
just
we?
spoon that right back.
we're
Yeah.
gonna-
We'll give Willis a second to get situated.
What wall is Dinah doing it on?
The south side.
Oh,
So facing the street, 3rd
Cool.
Avenue.
of the Cato Ballroom.
No, the
No,
Chestnut
the
House. It's
Chestnut.
one of
Oh,
the
gotcha,
sober
gotcha.
houses.
Okay.
So Dinah's also doing a community collage on the Chestnut House that faces 3rd Avenue. It's on the same block as the Cato Ballroom. So anyone can go help paint it.
Cool. What of all the things that are happening? First outside. So we have food trucks outside. We have a mural going on outside, and just for reference, last year we did food trucks on the front, like where you kind of think of as the facade of
Right.
the Cato Ballroom. But there's like a large parking lot in the back, and that's kind of where we're doing the programming this year.
Mm-hmm. Well, last year we had pouring rain, so it was more
Mhm.
convenient to have them out front.
Yeah.
And there'll be functional separation between both the concert and the vending event too.
Yep.
So to give people better chance to catch both and really get the most out of it, I imagine.
Yeah, the art fair is from 11 a.m. till 5. And then there's an hour break for us to like redo everything, and then we'll open the doors back up at 6.
And the music starts at 7. But, you know, obviously most people are going to come for the community collage. You know, when's that happening?
Clearly. Let's just be real. No, we're going to be doing that during the daytime portion. So that'll be going from 11 to 5. I mean, we've historically had a line. So if we go over, then I think we can probably stay open a little bit later while, you know, the transitioning is happening. But I'm pretty excited about it. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask you, like, you know, a lot's been going on with the project. Could we just get like a really like a brief update with how that project has been moving since the last time we spoke to you?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. My goal this year was 2,000. We're already at about 3,600 locally.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty incredible. And we just we set up our collage in Minneapolis for the first time on Friday, which was really fun.
Nice.
So we had the second to last night of Fashion Week, which ended up being sold out, and it was for their up and coming designers. And it was really interesting to see, like, in a new audience, like, how do people respond? And then also it was like they have very little awareness of the project, period. Plus, it was a fashion crowd versus just like everyday people. So to just watch people like flexing and flossing and doing that whole thing was kind of interesting. We've also on Sunday we're gonna do the New Ulm Community Collage. So we're expanding into other cities. I think by the end of the year, I'll probably have had 5,000 people participate this year. Wow. And I've been kind of debating, like, you know, last year was so involved. I know a few of you guys came and helped and did that install, and it literally took like a month of our lives and like hours and blood, sweat, and tears and all that whole thing. And so this year I'm looking for a permanent installation for that to take place sometime in September, I think. We got a couple ideas on the table, so I don't want to throw anything out too soon, but it would be just amazing to have a 5,000 person representation of Mankato in some sort of permanent location here. I think it'll be cool. And I'm also debating, because I feel like, you know, the flagship year had its moment, but maybe I include those pieces in this permanent one if we can. So
cool.
That, and I would love to, you know, the roaming exhibition idea I think was pretty cool, but at the same time, it's so much work, dude. Like, it's like just endless. The Fashion Week people, they really liked last year, so they asked me if I would bring up the collage, and they displayed it at a few of the Fashion Week events. So when we actually did set up and shoot, there was like one kid who came up and he's like, dude, I just love you, man, and everything you're doing. And I was just like, wow, I can't believe other like people are hearing about it. And, you know, it's just that little exposure. So I don't know. I'm hoping that we can continue expanding. The goal is still 20 cities in 3 years. But I just think this will be such a perfect, like, manifest will be such a, like, perfect culmination of all of these things. Because it's like, you know, it is so many talented local artists. And like, I remember going to Low concerts when I was like, you know, 15, 16 years old and sitting on the floor in the First Avenue main room with our lighters up because it was such a, like, quiet, nice show, you know? And so to have that come back and then also be supporting MWAC, who is my fiscal manager for the whole year, you know, it's just, for me, it's like this nice, like, culmination of everything in this big apex. So you got the concert, you're going to have all the community events, you got, you know, the community mural, and then coming together through all of the artists that are going to be participating too, some of which, like, have really helped out in the Community Collage project as well. So I don't know. I'm excited to get that going. I mean, Mankato Area Foundation, like, really, really stepped it up this year and, like, made it possible for a lot of these shoots to actually happen. And so I want to see what happens when we actually get to do that exhibition.
Sure. And just in case someone has somehow managed to discover our podcast and never heard of Community Collage, what is it that they would be coming to see and do at Manifest?
So essentially, they're coming to watch me make a fool of myself and be a wind-up toy, but a live experiential photo shoot. We broadcast all of the images so that people waiting in line can see it, or just people attending the event, and it's really cool to get that instant feedback. But we set up a portrait photo studio with a couple different backgrounds. That's one thing we did different from like last year. I don't know if you guys remember, it was like so tedious to like bring up and down the background when we wanted to change it out. So this year I figured out a way to kind of like make the V formation with two backdrops, and we can just spin the light depending on either what I think looks better. Or I normally ask people like, what do you want? And they're like, I don't know. What do you think? And I'm like, all right, great. We're doing great. Let's go. So this year we're going to have those two backgrounds. People will be able to get their pictures taken. We've kind of we've gotten our software to a good place where actually the whole check-in and check-out process happens on like 6 different laptops. So we have them sign in, they get put in their email. So we actually send the photos to the correct place. And then the software lets them select it. And the moment they press submit, it's already in their email. So it's been really cool to develop that and see that kind of like form and have a life of its own as well. So they'll get to see that whole process happen. They'll get images from the event, and then they'll be able to go and check out other vendors and support our local awesome art scene.
All for the price of $0.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe it, but it's zero.
Yeah.
Shelley,
Yes.
let's keep going around the table. What about this is what about this Manifest event do you find to be particularly exciting? Like, what has you looking forward to it with joy?
I mean, I'm really excited to be able to actually interact with all the vendors that I already know, as well as the few that I don't, that I'll get to know through this event. For people that are familiar with me, I do occasionally vend at Mankato events, but it's not my main focus as an artist. So there were some years that I did it a lot more, and I started to get to know a lot of the vending artist community, but you don't get to actually interact with each other that much at events, ideally, because they should be busy and well attended, and you have all these customers or just people to talk to. So it's nice to be on the other side of it and not worry about my setup, not worry about my inventory and the work that I didn't get done for the event. Instead, it's kind of almost like going back and just finishing my homework assignment. And once the event's going, I wouldn't say my job is done, but the bulk of what I've been doing over the past few months will kind of be culminated. So I'm just excited to see everybody in the space doing their thing and to interact with that process on the whole, rather than from my one little booth, wherever that might be.
Sure. Yeah, I imagine. I never really thought about it, but at an vending event, you're kind of probably just looking at whoever's across from you.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know, like I do a lot of the makers markets at the makerspace, especially around the holidays. And it's funny because there's kind of a few of us that often end up together, but they try to keep it fresh at the makerspace too and mix it up. So it's usually like this weird mixture of somebody you've seen a million times but never talked to because you haven't been set up next to them, and somebody that you're somehow always neighbors with. So I tried to think about that a little bit as I was assigning booths to folks as well. We did it mostly just to try to split up the different offerings we have, because we do have a wide variety of artists, makers, businesses, art spaces that will be represented. So it's kind of that planning of how do you spread it out in a way that you don't have everybody that does the same thing grouped together, right? And that makes it entertaining for the folks that are waiting for the community collage as well, to be able to see a lot of these different things without being posted up in an area that's all of one kind of thing.
Yeah. And for anyone who hasn't done the math on this too, this is just before Mother's Day. So,
Right. Yeah.
This is your prime example for that last minute Mother's Day shopping.
Perfect.
But also, so there's vendors there, and that's one way that like art's getting blasted out into the community. But there's kind of like a double feature with the auction, where artists donate their art, and then it's the proceeds go to MWAC to basically be put back into the arts community.
Right. So everyone that donates, we make sure to actually advertise their art on our social medias, because we're all about like promoting other artists. And there's also like a ton of kid activities too. Sidetrack's going to be there and doing a sculpture build, and there's a lot going on in the back room.
Yeah. Well, could you go over? I mean, first of all, anyone who's watching this, if you haven't gone over and looked at the manifest page, there's a lot of images of the stuff that's going to be available there that you can bid on in the silent auction. I would suggest going to do that. But could you talk about some of the artists who have donated work and what kind of stuff people can expect to see there for people who haven't seen that through social media already?
Yeah, so we're just starting to get a bunch of artwork in now. Like my artist at Mecca Tattoo Trent just donated a painting. Jason Kiley just donated a sculpture. There's a bunch of businesses donating to our silent auction, so there's a lot of like community support.
I really liked last year with there's some different demonstrations from the makerspace going on and some different interactive elements. I think that was pretty neat to see. I'm curious in general for, again, maybe someone who's still confused about what this manifest is. Like, why is it all coming together like this? Where did it come from? I know it's a couple years old at this point, but what's the motivation behind the event and putting it all together?
Well, when we started the Midwest Art Catalyst with Edgar, we would do fundraisers once a year called the Post-Holiday Extravaganza, because he hated winter so much that he just wanted to have a party. So it always started like right after Christmas, but then it like got later and later and later. And we did that forever until the pandemic. And then like it was done, like shut down. So like last year I was seeing Megan Schnicker's posts about how the Indigenous Art Fair wasn't going to happen. And I'm like, yeah, it sucks. The post-holidays done too. And then I was like, well, why don't we just do them together?
Yeah.
And so we brought those two things together last year. And then this year it's just grown into like a bigger, more community-centered event.
That's wonderful. So how do you try to reach out to the community? How have you been able to connect with the community and through all this and reach people?
Most of it's been on social media, like Facebook. Like we'll promote our art vendors, and then they share it, and it's just like gets shared exponentially like from there.
Yeah.
And then we're doing radio ads this year. Radio Mankato is donating ads. Dave's River Valley Harley Davidson is one of our sponsors. KMSU is one of our sponsors. Like we've got a lot of community support just to like fund the event too.
You're on TV this morning too, right?
KMSU.
Oh, that was the radio this morning.
We got to hang out with Tim and Shelley.
Nice.
Tim
nice.
and Shelley.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to...
Is it Tim's birthday today?
Not today, but it just was.
Oh, man.
Should
I was like, dang, we were bad guests if we didn't even realize that.
Cool. So what other things are we looking forward to with the event? I feel like we've covered a lot of the details about what's going to be happening there and who all is going to be participating. I know we've got quite a stacked lineup for the day. What can people... is there anything people need to do to prepare for it? Like if they'd like to participate in Josh's collage or in any of the other activities, do they need to do sign-ups or get signed up to do the auction, anything like that?
Yeah, we do have a Calendly link like we've done, which is on the, like if you see any of the posters, which I can send you guys a link to, but there's a QR code that people can scan if they want to make a reservation to be in the photo shoot, but they can just walk up as well. And, you know, so probably they want to wear something that they would want to be photographed and featured in. I think other than that, there's like not necessarily anything that they need to do, but just come prepared to have oodles of fun.
Yeah.
And I would say bring your wallet so you can support the artists out there and get something cool for mom. And now this year you don't have to call it last minute because you're planning right now by planning to be there last minute to find that cool gift.
Yeah. Perfect.
But I think it's kind of like it's an opportunity really for MWAC to like reboot and like really build its name up to do what it is. Cause I think there's a ton of cool artists here. And I think I see a lot of people going at their own endeavors, myself included. Like we just kind of like get in our lane and kind of push in that way. But I think it's so cool to see everyone come together, and I'm curious to see what collaborations or what might happen out of people coming together at this particular event and for this cause. Because I never had the pleasure of meeting Edgar, but he sounds like quite the character, and it's cool to see like his spirit live on through what we're doing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's really it's cool that we've got an event like this that's seeing its second year. Well, how many years was it something previously? Because this is really probably closer to its.
I want to say 15,
so
10 at least.
Calling it in its second year's a bit.
Yeah. Well, the post-holiday was fun, but it would seem like it was like a certain group of people that would always attend. And this, I feel like we're branching out to the whole community a little bit more.
Yeah, the scope of this event is quite large. I remember last year, I don't know the exact numbers of people, but there was a lot of vendors and hundreds and hundreds of people were able to come through and check out the vendors and catch the music. So I'm really excited to see what this coming one looks like.
Same.
Cool. Well, anything else we want to share before we wrap it?
Yeah, I think if you want to find more information about it, you can go to the Midwest Art Catalyst Facebook page. And on there is the event page for Manifest. And then on Instagram, it's Manifest Mankato.
Also, two things that might be important. This is an all ages event.
Yeah.
And there will be service, right? There's going to be service at the bar.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I did, if it's all right, I did want to thank, sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no, you're good.
But
That was my whole
I just
point.
noticed, just to make sure that we're really giving credit where credit is due, and Mankato has really stepped up too for helping us to get our music, and Visit Mankato has also helped out, and Mankato Area Foundation, and I think we already mentioned Free Press and Radio Mankato, so we have had a lot of community support on this one, which is cool to see those people stepping up and adding credibility to what we're doing. So.
Yeah,
Perfect.
there's kind of like a long list of people who made this happen.
Gosh, yeah.
The question of like how it affects the community is really like almost every part of this kind of has its own like wide base of community action happening with it. So
well, even
and on
you guys.
that note,
go ahead.
the one I didn't mention is we also do now have the Blue Earth Project being represented. So Paul will be there with an interactive station that kind of touches on and helps launch his newest eco-mapping project, which is all about how individuals can take action in their own community toward cleaner water and a better community for us all to live in. So he'll be there with that information as well.
I saw him give a presentation on that last year, and it's pretty cool. If you haven't checked out the Eco Mapper, I know it just launched. It is a kind of like a regional tool that allows you to adopt areas, even like as small as like adopting a drain by your spot. So it really is pushing people towards being able to actually, feel like they're helping and committing. So it's a very cool project. And also if you like aerial maps, I'm a map guy. What can I say?
Yeah. The perfect blend of nerdiness.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. Well, do we have any other statements, facts, calls to action?
I think if anyone else wants to donate to the silent auction and the art raffle, they can drop off at Mecca Tattoo Monday through Saturday, noon to 5.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, please support the event, the vendors, the organizers, the artists, everyone who helps make it happen. So thank you for all that you've done to put it together, and thank everyone else for the work you did as well.
And if you're there,
Excited
we'll
about
be
it.
there too. Come say hi. TF will be there mixing and walking around taking photos and whatever stuff we do. So say hi.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks, guys. And thanks to you guys, too. I mean, how long have we been meeting about this? For like 6 months now or something? Like,
Jacob, are you going to say it?
I didn't. I thought I owed like I had something clever to say, but it was just going to be like, since,
No.
since the dawn of time.
Nothing bad can happen, right?
No, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, nothing could possibly go wrong.
Nothing could possibly.
It's a guaranteed good event.
oh, boy.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.